We're live in the studio. You can call us at 877-937-1047. You can also be listening to us on the iHeartRadio app. Still call us. You can text us. Text JJR in your message to 96893. Nick is in the studio. New guy Nick is in the studio. He told me something funny. It made me laugh out loud, and I couldn't stop laughing just because of the way he said it. Or, Nick, would you mind sharing with everybody what you said this morning?
Yeah, so I emailed John Jay. Joey and I were out, and he went to grab us a couple beers. And when he came back, he had 4 beers, and he was like, "Yeah, here's your beer. I also I tipped the girl." And I was like, "Oh, good. That's good." He was like, "Yeah, I tipped her $20 because she had an eye patch." And that was it. He left a 75% tip on his order solely because she had an eye patch.
Is that what, like, you felt bad for her or what?
Little context. So she said that she drove out here from a completely different state, and on the way out, she got in this huge car wreck. And she was in a sling, and she also had an eye patch. And I felt bad for her. What's funny is she didn't even make the drinks. She was just like in the back. And so the person that actually made the drinks, I said, "Hey, will you make sure to give a 20 to this girl?"
Yeah, you just felt bad for her?
I felt awful for her.
He was like, I pointed to her and said, "Hey, this is for her. This is for her."
Joey.
That might be a good bit for her.
Like, she's totally fine.
Yeah,
it's a
she's
leftover
good.
Halloween costume.
She think I was a pirate this year.
Somebody said, "Hey, Francine, wear the Halloween costume. Stand behind me while I make drinks."
Yeah.
Maybe running something, I don't know. But she had a sob story, and I felt really bad for her.
I think you did a good thing.
Yeah,
You're so
you're a
nice.
nice
Sure,
person,
Joey,
Joey.
use the details to defend it.
All right, and then on the flip side, Suzette, you told me something about staying in your lane.
Yeah, I need to stay in my lane.
Why? What happened?
Mr. Baby and I were driving somewhere, and we saw that there was a cute little white puppy literally walking on a road, a busy road. And it was, there's the sidewalk, and then you have the road where all the cars are driving, and it was right off the sidewalk, just walking, and it seemed so happy, little white puppy, and I was like, oh, I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, look at the puppy, and Mr. Baby immediately pulled over to the right, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go grab it. Like, we didn't really communicate anything, but as soon as he pulled over, I was like, I gotta go save this dog before it gets hit by a car. So I get out, I run, and I kind of stay away from the puppy, and I'm trying to get it to me. I'm like, come here, puppy. And it starts kind of walking towards me, and then it looks at me, and it's like, nah, and it keeps on walking on the road. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to snatch it up before a car hits it. And so I'm looking at the traffic because I don't want to get hit either. And finally, when I see a gap, I run towards the dog to pick it up, and it's all, "Rah, rah, rah," and it like attacks me. And I jump, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And as soon as the dog like starts barking at me and tries to bite me, it just takes off and goes into like this trailer park. And I'm like, okay, it's going back home. It's not on the road anymore. I look to the car, and Mr. Baby's laughing. He's like in tears laughing. And I'm like, I try to save it. And he's like, yeah, he wanted nothing to do with you. He knew what he was doing. He was going to go back home regardless. And I'm like, well, I tried. Yes. I tried to pull a Blake and John Jay, and it totally backfired on me.
But you did help us. Suzette delivered a dog for us. She was in Tucson. We had a dog that needed to be saved from Tucson, be delivered from Tucson to Phoenix, and you drove it for us, so that was very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, it was my redemption. So I was like, you need that dog back from Tucson? I'll pick it up right now, and I need to redeem myself.
And what did you think of the Christmas movie I was telling you to watch on Netflix?
Oh, it was so cute. It was a really cute movie. It was like nice to see like a holiday movie right now with like all the stress.
Was this a New York Christmas wedding?
Yeah,
We watched it last week? Okay.
Yeah, and I was crying my eyes out. I cried so much that Mr. Baby was like, enough. Like, you're crazy. He's like, yeah, this is cute and sweet. And he walked out, and I'm in bed crying. I thought it was a really sweet movie.
So
definitely, like how Kyle said, modernized like Christmas love story.
I started watching this new show on Netflix yesterday, and it's a show that I had no idea what it was about, and it's a reality show, which I'm not into at all. It's called Country Ever After. Have you heard of it yet?
I've heard of it.
Okay, so it's this country guy. His name is Cafe. He's a black country singer. And he is married to a white hip hop artist. She was a dancer for Britney Spears, for Snoop Dogg, and for Rihanna. Okay. And he's trying to make it independent. He wants no part of record labels. He wants nothing. He's writing his own music and everything. And they have 3 little kids, and they live in LA, and he's from Texas. And the relationship is so cute, right? So I'm watching the first episode. And you've seen how much they love each other, and they tell you her background, his background a little bit, and they have each one of their kids, and they're so cute. They just get a 2-year-old, I think a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And you really fall in love with this family. And then she goes to her, and they're doing stuff for their fans. You know, he's cutting them up these special wedding videos, and they're just this really great family. So I'm like, this is cute, right? 15 minutes into the first episode, she goes to a hip hop class. So she takes hip hop class. And they're like, all right, everybody, this is my friend, Chriselle. I think Priscilla is her name. Okay, here's my friend, Priscilla. And she's battling stage 3 prostate cancer. And I was like, what? And had no idea. They didn't say any of this stuff. And then she's like going through chemo. And she's like, am I going to be around for my kids? I don't know. And the whole reality show takes a turn. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Because now it's like, I'm battling this thing. And all of a sudden, I'm crying watching this show because now she's like, I want to be there for my kids and be there for my husband. And they go on a date night. And he's like, you're going to make it through this thing. And it just changes. First, you're like, this is about this country singer that's trying to make it. This is about this hip hop dancer who's now trying to support her husband. And now it's about her living. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Completely spun my head around. And my wife and I were just glued to the first. I had to stop it. And I was like, I don't know if I can commit to this. And then I tell my sister, I go, hey, check this out. Because, you know, she's in the reality world. And she's like, oh, I heard about the show. She goes, I saw them both in L.A. promoting it on TV yesterday, she said, right? Or the day before yesterday. She goes, which tells me she's doing well and she survived. And I'm like, oh, that's good.
That's a good point.
So then I start scrolling through the episodes, and I get to episode. It's episode 12, and it says, and Chriselle talks about remission, and I'm like, oh God, thank God. So like now I've already gone through. Like I went through episode 1 was fantastic. So just scrolling through the titles of episode, I don't have to commit to it anymore. But I can just tell you that episode 1 was a tearjerker and it was an emotional roller coaster without knowing anything about it.
So you're not going to watch all the episodes?
No, I don't like reality shows.
Oh.
That's it. Recommend it, but you're done.
Yeah.